Amen. Somebody say rebound. I've been working on my dribbling and it's still bad. All right, here we go. Rebound. Watch this. Just watch what happens here. It's a little hard to see the quality on the screen, but watch. Play it again if you can, because I want you to watch it one more time. Watch this. Here he goes. Watch. Up, 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 up. Hear me close. With their reliable uncertainty are part of what makes the game of basketball beautiful. Rebounds and their predictable randomness is what makes life unique. A challenge. Who can resist a story about a comeback, a new beginning, a fresh chapter, a fresh start? Archie Williams was his name. He spent 37 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And it was new technology and the DNA evidence that freed him. Now he's singing and competing on America's Got Talent. Rebounds. 22 years old when he went to prison. 37 years behind bars. And at 59 years old, he's singing his songs. He would say, when asked how he survived, he said, "My body was in prison, but my mind was always free." I'm challenging someone in this house to rebound, to rise. Proverbs 24:16, the word says it this way: the godly may trip 7 times, but they will get up again. So according to Proverbs, one of the earmarks of being godly is you get up. Let me say it again. The godly may trip 7 times, but they get up. They rise. They endure. They survive all the various vicissitudes of life. So then the reverse must be true. Can you call yourself godly if you quit? Can you call yourself godly if you capitulated to the onslaught of uncertainty and walk away? Can you call yourself godly if the difficulties that confront your life, if the inconsistencies that are the you, that is you, the missed shots, the lost games, if you walk away angry, frustrated, irritated at the failed marriages, the lost jobs, the difficult times, if you quit, are you godly? For the godly may trip. It's a reality of walking with God. There are times we stumble. But even though the godly trip, they get up again. Is there anyone in this house that you're just going to get up again? Because you know there's an inevitable falling potentially to come your way, a mishap, a misstep, a frustration, a loss, a failed endeavor, a bankruptcy, a divorce proceeding, a bad diagnosis, but you're just gonna get back up and keep praising and loving and singing and praying and dancing because you're not quitting no matter what, because you're a righteous person, you're a godly person, you know in whom you have believed, you put your confidence in God, and no matter what hell shoots at you, no matter what fiery dart comes your way, with the shield of faith, you just get back up and you win again, play again, shoot again, dream again. If that's you, shout yes. You just don't quit. The writer would go on in Proverbs to say, the godly trip 7 times, but they get up again. But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked. One mistake is all it takes. And it doesn't call them quitters. Proverbs doesn't call them quitters. Proverbs doesn't call them inconsistent. Proverbs doesn't call them waffling or indecisive. Proverbs says when you don't get up, it's equivalent to being wicked. He says this, but one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked. One disaster is all it takes for someone who hasn't determined, I will win, I will survive, I will fight to the end. That's what I like about Paul's word. He said, I fought a good fight. By the mere writing of it, he said, this battle I was in, it was a fight. It wasn't easy. I was betrayed by my own brethren. I was betrayed by strangers. I was persecuted. I was attacked. I was manipulated. I was beaten 3 times with stripes, 39 save 1. I was in 3 shipwrecks. I was snake bit, I was lied on, I was persecuted, but guess what? I fought a good fight. I kept the faith. Is there anyone in this house who would say, Pastor, I'm going to keep the faith no matter what happens, no matter the pandemic, no matter the social crises, no matter the economic frustrations, I will keep on keeping on. If that's you, shout yes. One mistake and the wicked are off track. One missed shot, one lost game, one divorce, one marriage slip up, one failing, one disaster. But the heavenly kingdom is about second chances. God's kingdom is about restoration. Not getting back up is not just failure in Proverbs terms. Wicked people don't get back up. Get up off the mat of disappointment. The true mark of your winning is not in never having fallen. It's the fact you have fallen and you rebounded again. You believed again. You know, the goal in basketball is not just being a good dribbler. That'd be great. But there are multiple skills that are required to be successful in the game of basketball. Dribbling is no doubt an important skill. Bad dribblers have the ball stolen. There's turnovers. They lose control of the game and the ball. But no matter how great of a dribbler you are, shooting and making baskets is really what matters. Scoring points, a W at the end of the night. So if you're close to the basket, it's just 2. But if you're behind the arc, it's 3. A higher skill set of accuracy is required. The 3-point shot has been good for the game of basketball because it encourages players to make more shots from a farther distance. But even the best basketball players miss shots. They miss. We would not need the term rebound in basketball if every player made every shot they took. So in truth, failure is a part of the game. It is interwoven into the makeup, the DNA of the game of basketball. You will miss. So what happens when Steph Curry misses a shot? Does he throw the ball down and storm and stomp his foot and cry like a baby? Sometimes. When Michael Jordan missed his shot, did he stomp his foot? When Shaquille O'Neal is rejected by an opposing player, does he lose his cool and get angry, or does he shoot again? Try again. Even though failure was the result of his attempt, he tries again. Do we bench players that miss their shots? Do we say, you're out of the game, you missed a shot? Now, if it's a trend of missed shots, one after the other, perhaps more practice and a benching might be needed to refocus. But typically, superstars miss, basketball players miss, and they just keep playing. So what they've learned is, since basketball players miss, David Payton, come up here with me. Since basketball players miss, maybe they lost sight of the goal for a moment. I don't miss very often, so I need you to come up here and guard me, all right? So, perhaps they lost sight of the goal. Perhaps there was an obstacle in front of them that hindered them. Perhaps they were out of sync or out of rhythm. There's a lot of variables that goes into the miss. Distraction, the pressure of time, the pressure of a defender in your face, off balance, out of sync, bad timing. The list goes on. Poor form. Because professional basketball players don't just miss shots when someone's in their face. They miss shots when they're on the foul line and it's a free throw. Focus on the word free throw. It is a free point. And sometimes basketball players, I was really not trying to make that. Basketball players miss, there we go, the free throw. It must be the jacket. All right, no, it's the jacket. All right, take that off, Dave. Thank you. Let me try that again. Sometimes basketball players, you know, it must be the tie, you know, because I know I don't miss. Let's try it again, David. You got to rebound better there. I'm killing all the stuff up here. All right, here we go. I need my jersey. That's what it is. I need the jersey on. Because if I put on my jersey, it will make me better. I mean, come on. Whose number is this after all? Yeah? Okay, so. There we go. Spin it. There we go. Okay. I'm going to make this now because I look the part. What did you do to me? Because after all, dressing the part means you're going to make the shot. Some of you already feel the sermon coming. Dressing the part, you can look like a Christian and not act like a Christian. You can look like a Christian and not be a Christian. You can have all the external stuff on, Brother Sweet, and still blow the shot. So, what's the mark of the godly according to Proverbs 24:16? That you try again. They may fall 7 times, but they get back up and they keep shooting. They keep trying. They keep believing. So no matter how you feel like you got life together, you're going to make a mistake. Something's going to come out of the blue. There's going to be a moment of distraction, a moment of preoccupation, a time that something's in your face when the defense and the enemy is too strong and you're just not capable enough to win on your own, and you will miss. But I'm challenging someone, don't give up on your dream, your goal, or the win just because you miss. Michael Jordan played 15 seasons in the National Basketball Association. Jordan played in a game when they're down 10 points. I don't know if I should really quote him. He had a young rookie playing against him. The rookie Reggie Miller thought he was doing pretty good. Had him down. Michael Jordan came back and scored 25 points in the second half. Won the game. And he walked by and whispered in Reggie Miller's ear, "Don't mess with the black Jesus." That's what they say. In fact, Tex Winter said to Jordan about the same game. Tex Winter said, "Michael Jordan, there is no I in team." And here's what Michael Jordan said. "You're right, there's no I in team, but there is an I in win." Sometimes as an individual, you have to step up and fight. Fears are illusions. Michael Jordan never offered an excuse. He never missed a game. He played when he was hurt. He played when he was in pain. He played when he was sick. He played and performed at an intense level. And no matter how he felt, he played the game. And I quote him, "I have missed over 9,000 shots in my career. I lost 300 games. 26 times I was trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed it. I have failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Because he kept trying, he kept shooting, and he kept believing. Listen, look clearly. Success is often reached through small things. When Pat Riley coached the Los Angeles Lakers from 1982 to 1990, the team won 4 NBA championships. He took over the Knicks in 1991. Riley inherited a team with a losing record. All right? But the Knicks seemed to be able to play above their abilities and even gave the eventual champions, the Chicago Bulls, their hardest competition in the playoffs. How did Coach Riley do it in his first year at the New York Knicks? And this is amazing to me. Listen close. Every NBA team keeps track of and compile statistics, and they watch videotape to evaluate their players' performances. They talk about how many games played, how many games started, how many points they score, how many field goals made, how many field goals attempted, the percentage of field goals made, how many free throws made, how many attempted, what's the percentage of making those free throws, 3-point field goals, on and on the list of statistics goes. Assists, steals, blocks, turnovers. But Pat Riley did something different. He used a different metric than almost all of his rivals. He said, we measure performance in areas that is typically ignored. You ready? Come up here, Christian. Come up here. This is what Mr. Riley said. Jumping. I told Christian I was going to use him today, and I told him I really didn't think he could guard me. And he laughed. You can too. Christian plays ball for the University of South Florida. I'm pretty sure he's got game. Christian, just right over there by the basketball. David, just kind of step up by Christian. I want to illustrate something. So here's what Pat Riley did. Going to the Knicks after winning 4 NBA championships with the Lakers. Here's what Pat Riley said. We're not just going to study how many shots you take, David, and what the percentage is you make them. We're not just going to study how many shots you block or how many assists or steals you get. We're going to study, did you jump for every rebound possible, whether you got it or not? So in his words, listen, jumping in pursuit of every rebound, even if you don't get it. That means when I took my shot, you're on my team. You're on the opposing team. When I take my shot, you're jumping for every one of those rebounds. You're fighting for every opportunity to make your team win. His team, in the first year as a coach, became a contender in the playoffs because he taught his team. It's not just about the points you make. It's not just about the steals. It's not just about the shots taken. It's about fighting for every opportunity to get another shot. Listen to this. They had another statistic. Swatting at every single pass. Whether you blocked it or not, if you weren't swatting, you were then taught the discipline and the reality that you needed to reach for every single pass. Diving for loose balls. Who keeps a percentage on how many times these NBA players dived for a loose ball? Listen to this. He kept a percentage on letting other players smash into you in order to draw a foul. So his metrics were a completely different percentage than most people. He said, we're going to make sure you're giving 100% of effort all the time. That's what he called them. Effort statistics. And this is what he said. Effort, this is Coach Pat Riley, is what ultimately separates a journeyman player from an impact player. So can I steal that phrase and tell you effort is what separates a successful Christian from a waffling Christian. Effort is what separates a Christian that fights till the end from a Christian that's indecisive and that falls under the duress of the least battles. Hear me. Knowing that you're executing all the little things is the key to unlocking the big things in God. You got to give maximum effort. You got to jump for every ball. You got to swat at every pass. You got to dive for every opportunity to take possession. You got to press. You got to pray every day. You got to fast. You got to read your Bible. You got to sing. You got to celebrate. Because if you're just giving enough effort to get by with your walk with God, then when a difficulty comes, it's enough to knock you down and keep you down. But the godly get up and they pray again. They dance again. They sing again. They rejoice again. He was a controversial figure. Dennis Rodman married himself. You know it's trouble when you love the person in the mirror more than you love anybody else. He married himself. But he's known as one of the best rebounders in NBA history. And he would spend late night sessions. Listen, you got to hear what I'm about to preach. He would spend late night sessions making his friends shoot basketballs so he could analyze the trajectory of the rebound. Till 3 and 4 in the morning, he would make his friends shoot the basketball, shoot the basketball, shoot the basketball. And Dennis Rodman said, I started learning how to put myself in the right position. He said, when I played Larry Bird, I studied how Larry Bird shot. I knew that Larry Bird put a lot of spin on the ball, and that caused it, depending on where it hit, to kick a certain way off the rim. So I didn't fight for the rebound under the basket. I went to where I believe Larry Bird's shot was going to go if he missed. He said, Magic Johnson, he has a slight left spin to his shot, and that meant the ball would typically rebound off to the left. So I positioned myself to the left when Larry Bird was coming down to make a shot. Jordan, when he shoots from there, the rebound goes there. Rodman recorded 20-plus rebounds in 159 games, more than any other player in NBA modern history. Why? Because he studied how people rebound. He studied how they shoot and miss and where do I need to be. He made it a science. So now we live in a completely different world than when he practiced basketball. Now, did you know that there are cameras in the top of all the domes of all the basketball arenas? They're little hidden cameras, and they record every player movement. The ball, listen to this. This is really hard to believe. It's surveillance, and it reports the position of the basketball 24 times every second. Think about that. So there is cameras in the top all over these arenas, in every national basketball arena, and wherever that ball is, 24 times a second, it knows where the ball is. So it shows how the ball's rotating. It shows how the ball is spinning. So they release these statistics to the NBA teams. They're free to do with that information whatever they choose, okay? Now, smart teams, this is what they're doing. Put my slide up. Watch this. This is amazing to me because the question that they're after is, where do rebounds go? Where do rebounds go? All right? It's telling us overall, the highest percent of rebounds in a game take place here and here. To the right and the left of the goal, close, just within a few feet. But let's break it down a little bit because these analytics amaze me. Go to the next, watch this. Left corner misses go from here. So this is the science behind it. If I am shooting from the left corner of the goal, here, the rebound, the vast majority of the time, will kick to the right side of the goal. If you know that information, and Christian sets up on the left, David, you know, set up on the right to get the rebound. What would happen if in the church we understood what the possible difficulties were that would face some of our new believers? People that have had these spiritual moments and they're trying to find freedom from addiction and brokenness and marital problems. What would happen if we built a restoration ministry that put us in the right place to retrieve the rebound when they were trying to put their life back together? What would happen if some of you took your testimony because you know the mess you came out of and the mess you had to survive and the mess you went back into? What if we went through and said those struggling with issues about receiving the Spirit and understanding how the presence of God moves? What would happen if we put it in your hands and you analyze your own life and you say, you know, when I was on the outside perimeter and I was wrestling with some stuff and I wasn't yet connected to the Spirit of God, I kept missing. And when I missed, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Put the next slide up. Watch this. You ready? Right corner misses. Right corner misses do just the same thing. So if you're shooting, David, step over there toward the right. This is where we go to win the game because the miss is going to come here on a typical shooter. Now, there's a randomness in basketball because you have steel and a leather-filled ball and a glass backboard. And sure, there's a randomness that comes in. You can't always predict what's going to happen, but there is a statistical probability. Next slide. Watch this. Here's what happens. I love this. So if I am out past the key, way out there, and I'm shooting a three-pointer at the goal, most of those rebounds from that distance come off the rim a total of 8.3 feet. So you know what that tells you, Christian? You're way out there shooting. Go. Way out there for me, David. Go out there to three-point land above the key. Christian, you're wasting your time being up here under the goal. You're not going to get the rebound because the rebound is going to come off that rim an average of 8.3 feet. See, you got to put yourself in the right position to get that rebound. Then you base it on, is he shooting from the right or the left or the center? And when you get that information in your head, you know, okay, I'm in the right place to catch them when they fall. Can I tell you what I want this church to do? I want us to position ourselves in the right place, that when people are trying to teach and people are trying to soul win and people are trying to get out of addiction and people are trying to make a breakthrough, we're putting ourselves in a place to catch them, because I want every one of you taking a step of faith, every one of you teaching the word, every one of you having a home group in your house, every one of you hosting a prayer meeting, every one of you teaching a Zoom Bible study. But I got to put people in the right place that when someone makes an attempt, because every one of us is going to make a mistake. That system was designed to promote strategic analytics. So look at this. If you shoot from here, inside, outside the paint, but not out to the arc, 6.2 feet. If you shoot up close, within 6 feet or so of the basket, your rebound typically is going to bounce 5 feet. It comes back at you. You saw a video early. Sometimes it comes back to the shooter in random. But typically, you can analyze the proper analytics, and it comes back a predictable direction. I'm trying to tell someone right now, this church is ready when you walk in faith. People have been through the difficulties you've been through, but it's time for you to wear your Christianity. Because if ever the church needed to be the church, it's today. Listen to this. During the 2013 and the 2014 regular season, players missed over 100,000 field goal attempts. 100,000 shots were taken and they were not made. And misses mean rebounds, and rebounds shape the outcome of every game. What would happen? How many misses has the church made? Have Christians made? Have apostolics made? Have spirit-filled people made? And we weren't in the right position to pull them out of failure, to pull them out of difficulty, to pull back their faith. Hear me, the kingdom of God is about restoration. Come up here, Chris. Come up here, Chris, right? Chris and I are about the same height as long as I'm standing on the platform. Come up here, Chris. Come up here, Chris. Because this is what happens. Okay, David, you and I are on a team. You guys are on a team. You ready? We got them, don't we? Age and treachery always beats youth and zeal, okay? So here we go. Take a shot. I'm your rebounder. And that's not my specialty. But look what happens in your life. That is goaltending, foul. Unfortunately, there are no fouls and referees in your life. In your Christian walk, no one's going to blow the whistle for you and say unfair. When you get fired, when you get in relational trouble with your family, but we want the ref to come in and go, foul, get a free throw, but you don't get free throws. You got to crash that basket and do your best to fight for that rebound. And here's what happens. Your team has to get in there and elbow their way. Did you see how the two of them just jumped up to box their pastor out? Because you're in a battle. And there are forces aligned against your success. They don't want you to win. You say, Pastor, I don't believe all that. You may not believe it, but it's a spiritual reality. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and rulers of the darkness of this world. We don't fight with the weapons that are carnal. We fight with spiritual weapons. And there is a team aligned against your success. But hear me, that's why you're a part of a church that's doing its best to help you win, to help you succeed, to help you move past your failures. You take a shot again, but this time I need another player. I'm outmatched here. You're too short. I need a player. I'm looking for a player. I'm looking for a player right now. Man, I can't find a ball player. I'm looking for a ball player right now. Come up here, Caleb. You got a baby on your lap? Come on up here. Come up here. Yeah, well, EJ, he's not in here. I'd have called EJ. Come up here. We're short, but we're Tisdales. And just let me know, dynamite comes in small packages. All right, here we go. Okay. So what happens is when he gets ready to take the shot, Caleb and I got to box in and get in position. That's what you saw Steph Curry do on the video. He threw his hip into the backside, and there it is. And look, he tried to reach over me. Look at that. But I got the rebound. And I shoot it back to the guy that tried to take a shot, because that's what has to happen in the house of God. Is we're in this for a team effort. We're in this to make sure everybody wins. It's not about a solo attempt. It's about all of us succeeding together. Let me ask you something. Is it a success if you make heaven and none of your family makes heaven? Is it a success if you make heaven and none of your neighbors make heaven? None of your coworkers make heaven? None of your neighbors and your friends and the people you're connected? I say absolutely not. We're in this to make a difference in our community. You got to fight for position. You got to push your way in. If you're willing to help somebody win, why don't you shout yes right now? There were critical times in the Word of God, and I want you to hear what I talk for the next couple of moments. When God's agenda transcends all of the methodology, all the plans, and all the priorities that men set forth. When God wanted to remind his people about his kingdom rule, God let his people get caught in uncomfortable positions and situations that they could not resolve on their own. He did so to force them to submit to his agenda, to his plan, to his kingdom. When Israel was caught between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea, there was no way out. The people complained to Moses that he brought them there to die. Things had gotten so bad for the Israelites, they could only see death in their future. But that's when God showed up. Said, Moses, hold out your rod. Let the sea part, that the Israelites can go across on dry land. Sometimes God puts us in a position like a pandemic to get our eyes back on the cross, our eyes back on the Savior, in line with a kingdom agenda. Sometimes God allows social injustice and things to rise so that you'll step back and say, the church better start being the church. The church better start praying. The church better start seeking the attention of God. When things are in disarray, they may be difficult and painful, but could it be your king is up to something great? When God's shaking things up, perhaps he's shaking it up to show his unshakable kingdom. Hebrews 12:25, watch this. Follow along. Be careful that you do not refuse to listen to the one who is speaking. Did you hear that? Be careful that you do not refuse to listen to the one who is speaking. For if the people of Israel did not escape when they refused to listen to Moses, the earthly messenger, we will not escape if we reject the one who speaks to us from heaven. When God spoke from Mount Sinai, his voice shook the earth. But now he makes another promise. Once again, I will shake not only the earth, but the heavens also. This means that all of creation will be shaken and removed so that only unshakable things remain. Watch verse 28. Since we are receiving a kingdom that is unshakable, let us be thankful and please God by worshiping him with holy fear and awe, for God is a consuming fire. Watch. Book of Joshua chapter 1, God told Joshua, be strong and of good courage. When God tells you like something like that, you better be ready. When God says, be strong and be of good courage, that's sort of an announcement, trouble's on the way. And you better get your faith in line because something might be coming your way. You need to be prepared for. Brace, get in the crash position, steel yourself. Yikes, something's coming my way. Because God knows the propensity for fear in the mess that you're facing is pretty high. Be strong and be of good courage. Joshua was getting ready to face a mess because he was about to go in and take some property occupied by the Hittites and the Amorites and the Jebusites and the Canaanites. He was about to march into enemy land. Joshua was the military leader over Israel. And God told him, listen to this, 1 and 3 of Joshua. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads, I will give it to you, just as I spoke to Moses. The promise in the face of his problems came as a revelation. But one thing we have to understand theologically is that God's promises, while legal, must become literal in our lives. In other words, God will make you a promise, Chris, Caleb, Christian, David. He'll make you a promise. But the promise he makes requires human action for that promise to become a human reality. You must do something to access what is yours. Did you hear it? Everywhere your foot treads, you'll have it. Every game you play, you'll win. But you don't win unless you participate. That's right. Unless you take the shot. Unless you work on the dribbling skills, unless you learn how to crash the boards, unless you learn how to get the rebounds, unless you swat at every pass and dive for every loose ball and attempt every shot. Hear me, you don't win unless you access the literal reality of what God's promised you. God said, I've already given you the land, but you're going to have to put your foot on it first. You just don't get the good things of God because you have the Spirit. You just don't get the promises of God because you found a scriptural promise or because God spoke to you in a prayer meeting. You got to get up and put your foot on God's promises. You got to get up and fight for it. You got to get back up and shoot again when you mess up. Joshua, I need you to do something. Put your foot on your promises to access what I have declared that is yours. While there is a promise to deal with a problem, there's a process for the promise to become reality. Did you hear me? So there is a promise to deal with your problem, but there is a process you can't forego to receive the promise that deals with the problem. Get aggressive. Listen, God's promise do not remove you from the process of full participation in receiving them. It'd be great to win a game and never having played. But not only do you not get the satisfaction of having given maximum effort, you would be winning something you did not deserve. Someone in this house, you've got some promises from God, but it's time to put your foot on them. It's time to get up and get in the game and take the shots and learn to dribble and get the discipline and learn to get the rebound and help somebody else win, because your future is promised, but it's not guaranteed until you get up and activate your faith with your feet. Activate your faith with your prayers. God may promise you it, but you still got to go get it. So watch what happens. Well, I feel the Spirit. Joshua's going down to make a reconnaissance. He's on his way down, and he looks, and here he is, and he sees all these city. He sees Jericho and all the warriors on top of the walls. He sees the goal behind him and where he wants to go. And while he's there doing a little reconnaissance, he looks over, and there's a guy by him with a flaming sword in his hand. He gets a little nervous. Said, "Who are you? Friend or foe? Are you with me? Or are you with them?" Because if he's with them, he has a whole nother problem. He's got to fight the people behind the walls, and he's got to fight the people on the outside of the walls. Who are you for? Me or those fellas over there. And I'm sure because Jericho is so big that Rahab's house is built on the walls. That had to be some pretty thick walls that you had a house inside the walls. Jericho's walls are so formidable. How do you put your foot in Jericho when they have the whole city shut up? How do you put your foot on that goal when Chris Wright's 6'7" and I'm 5'9"? Almost. Yeah, almost. 6'5", 6'2", what are you? 6'4", okay. And Christian is 6'2", 3, 6'2", and Caleb is 5 foot, 6'4". But how do I get to that goal when what's arrayed in front of me feels greater than what I have with me? What do I do? How do I get there when this is what I'm looking at? How do you get there when you're intimidated in your mind and you're frightened and you're just doing a little look-see? And you see a guy with a flaming sword and a helmet and a shield and all his armor, and you go, whoa. If he's on their side, we're done. He said, Hood, I love this. Get ready to put the scripture up. Who are you with? Me or them? And here's his answer. Nay. That isn't even an answer. Nay. Neither. What? You're not with me. You're not with them. You're not with either one of us. Neither. Nay. But I am the commander of the Lord's army. But I'm God's people. You must be on my side. Nay. Because God's agenda isn't your agenda. Whew. Boy, I feel the Spirit trying to tell somebody something right now. You want God to be your elixir, your snake oil, your antibiotic. You want God to do everything you want him to do, but God is not your cosmic bellhop. God isn't here to make your life easier. You're here to get in line with God's agenda so your life can take on favor and God's blessing. But we've been told God's here to get on our agenda. No, God isn't here for your agenda. God is here for you to get in alignment with his agenda. And his agenda is not this world's agenda. He said, neither. I am the commander of the Lord's army. Suddenly, Joshua gets an idea. Woo! I got it. I know what to do. If he's not on Jericho's side, and he's not on my side, if he's not for the adversaries or for me, I'm joining his side. And the word said, he went down on his knee and said, I submit to your kingdom. I submit to your agenda. I surrender to your plan. You want to win this battle? Stop trying to fight on your own and surrender to the agenda of God. You want to be able to face the giants in front of you and take the walled city and see the walls crumble down without ever clashing in battle? You want to see the power of God come over your life? You want to split the defenders and make the bucket and slam it home? Then you get with God's agenda. Get rid of the stubbornness, the pride, the arrogance, the resistance, the hesitancy, the unbelief, and line up with God's agenda and say, Lord, I'm on your side. You may not be on mine, but I'm on yours. What would happen right now in your life if you quit fighting for yourself and you submitted in this altar today and say, Lord, I submit my will and my purpose to yours. My plans, my dreams, my ideas, I line them up with you because, God, I need you to turn my life around. We didn't get in the promised land the first time. We missed it. We wandered for 40 years, but I'm ready to rebound. I'm ready to take the promises. What you told Moses, I'm ready for it. What you promised, everywhere my foot gets to Jericho, I don't know how to get there other than submitting myself to your plan. No wonder Jesus, when he taught us to pray, he said, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Our Father which art in heaven, Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. I don't know about you, but it seems like every day I have to get on my knees in my spirit and I have to say, God, if my ideas are not in line with yours, forgive me. If my plans and my agendas and my motives, the writer said, all, A-L-L, all seek their own and not that which is Jesus Christ. If you want to win, if you want to be able to face the adversity between you and the goal, you got to get with God's agenda. Raise your hands and love him right now.